Hi, good afternoon. We're here with Samuel Barrington from Care Improvement Associates. How you doing, Samuel?
I'm good, thank you, Mike. Thanks for having me.
You're welcome. So, if we could start things off and you tell us a little bit more around who you are, what you do, how long you've been doing it for, please.
Yeah, so I'm the founder of Care Improvement Associates. We've been going for be 7 years in April, April 2024. I'll be 7 years old. Um, Basically, we have a nationwide network of care experts who go out all over the country and consult with social care providers, predominantly, sometimes healthcare providers, predominantly social care providers. We're talking
Yeah.
care homes, nursing homes, home care agencies and care providers, supported living. Uh, and basically, we support them to meet regulatory requirements, but also aim for an outstanding CQC rating. So it's all about improving care quality within their organisation so that the people who receive the care and support get the best possible care that they
Yeah.
can every day, which is
How did
really
you,
great work to do. So,
good stuff. So, how did you get into that? What was your spark for starting the business?
Um, well, I've just turned 46 years young. When I was 17, I was a volunteer. No, actually, younger than 17, about 15. I was a volunteer with National Children's Home. My mum was a social worker,
Mhm.
and she said, "Oh, do you fancy volunteering at the Children's Home in Scarborough?" Which, like I say, at the time was under the National Children's Home charity. And basically, the volunteering work involved taking or supporting young people with learning disabilities to access the things I guess, in society that we all take for granted.
Yeah.
So, going to theme parks, going down to the beach, arcades, and it was kind of just an opportunity for these young people to get out and about with somebody different other than the parents, and it gave
Well,
their parents and family members some respite from their caring roles as well. So it's kind of a really good thing to get involved with, and I really enjoyed it. Did that for a couple of years, and got into kind of more paid full time care and support work roles within care homes and home care. Again, mainly in learning disabilities care and support, which was great. And that led on to me getting a professional qualification as a learning disabilities nurse at De Montfort University in Leicester. And things just kind of led on from there. Really, really enjoyed that course. Probably the best kind of time of my life at university,
yeah.
doing that nursing qualification. Just such a lot of experience and met such a lot of people that I'm still in touch with now. That was 98 to 2001. I'm still in touch with a lot of those people now. So really kind of defining years, I guess, finding my way as a professional care professional. So, and then that led on to kind of management positions after I've done my nursing qualification, more in the kind of social care
Mhm.
sector. Ended up managing a quite a large home care agency in Leicester that was providing 3,500 hours per week of home care, which is a lot of home
Yeah.
care in Leicester City. And it just kind of went on from there, got local authority experience. I wanted to kind of experience being on the care provider side, but also on the commissioning side as
Mhm.
well, where you actually commission to care providers to support people in the community and within their own home. So I kind of got those kind of care management, care commissioning experiences in local authorities. Um, and then I ended up more in the kind of training and consultancy arena, both for local authority and independent organisations, care quality director level of multi-site home care
Yeah.
groups, and that led on to becoming a consultant in the care sector in an employed role that would have been 2016. So that's kind of where it all led to. I saw an advert on Indeed, I think it was,
Mhm.
head of operations for a care consultancy. I was there for getting on a year, but unfortunately the role was made redundant. So that's when I set up Care Improvement Associates in 2017. I just kind of thought, how can I do things a
Yeah.
bit differently to what we were doing in my employed role? I was thinking, this is my business now, and I can kind of, within reason, do what I want. So I decided that I would set up a nationwide network of associates, which is what we did. I started with myself going out there on the roads, obviously. Um, Being the consultant, and then I slowly built up the network of
Mhm.
associate consultants across the country. Now we have 60 and
60, 60.
two franchisees, one
Excellent.
franchisee in London and one in Merseyside. So we've just recently started franchising as well.
Awesome. Growing the business. It's fantastic.
Yes,
What
yeah, it's the plan.
what have those 7 years been like then? How would you describe the business journey?
Um, I think when you get asked this question, I think you fall into two camps. I think you either fall into the camp of like, I don't know, you get this kind of Instagram image sometimes for
Yeah,
business owners where everything's perfect and everything's wonderful and it's like positivity and success and celebrating success all the
yeah,
time. And believe me, we've had some of those moments and some really, obviously really proud moments, and we do celebrate them. We do
yeah,
post on LinkedIn about them if they happen, not in a kind of gloaty way, but just
mm,
sharing progress, I guess. And
yeah,
but you do equally get the challenges, and I think sometimes people fall into that camp where they just talk about the negative side and how hard it is and how difficult it is. I guess
sure.
I'm somewhere in the middle. I accept there are huge challenges which we have had to cope with throughout those 7 years, and we have had huge successes as well. And I
Mhm.
guess I think I kind of fall in the middle. So when I'm posting on LinkedIn and doing my social networking and my media posts, I try and share the realities of both ends of the spectrum and everything in between, really.
Yeah,
Um, so huge positives. Worked with Bluebird Care, who have I think 220 something branches across the country of home care. They're a franchise group.
yeah,
Worked with all of their regional managers in training and mentoring them on how to be outstanding. Because we provided research and wrote a book on how to be outstanding in the home care sector. So that was a huge, massive achievement. Becoming a franchiser and get two franchises on board, huge, massive achievement. Celebrate that. On the other end of the spectrum, COVID hit us like it, everybody, and nearly destroyed the business. And I would be completely honest about that. I've talked about that
yeah,
on social media because we could not get into social care settings to do what we do, which is mainly mock inspections,
sure.
audits, training, mentoring, consultancy with the managers and the directors of those. So we couldn't get in. So we were doing this over Zoom, and it's not quite the same. You don't get your eyes on the situation
Yeah,
and
yeah.
kind
Was
of do mock inspections over Zoom. It just doesn't really work, does it? So we tried our best and we kept going, but that was a huge challenge, you know. So yeah.
and you talk about challenges. Is that your biggest challenge that you overcame? So in one way, was
I
it
think over
biggest
two
down
about
and
two
biggest up?
years on, yeah, 2 years on and off COVID was a huge challenge because you even towards the end of it when the vaccines had rolled out, you'd still
Mhm.
sometimes get a call where you'd maybe booked in, 6, 7 mock inspections across a group of homes, and you got
Yeah,
consultants geared ready to go in and do an audit, and then at the last minute you'd maybe get a call from the director or the manager say, oh, you can't come because we've got an outbreak of COVID. So quite rightly, we couldn't go in. You didn't want to make the situation worse, obviously. And we're classed as suppliers, essentially, even though we kind of do form part of the team while we're there and
yeah,
we work with the managers and the directors and the staff teams, the care teams. Essentially, we are a visitor. So, we didn't want to make situations worse. And so obviously we had to postpone business and so yeah, it was a big challenge over a couple of years, and I think since COVID kind of became more manageable, let's say, because it's definitely not over, is it? It's still a challenge sometime in the care sector. I think we've just had to try and recover from that and really push forwards and get back to where we wanted to be, really.
yeah, sure. So yeah, looking at the future then, what does that look like for you guys? Are there any challenges that you see on the horizon that you're kind of dealing with at the moment, or what's the future
Yeah, I
plans?
mean
So you mentioned
we've gone
franchising.
we've gone from in terms of the head office team, we've gone from just myself to now have there's 4 of us in the head office team. So they
Yeah,
manage and coordinate various parts of the business. So we've got Rachel who manages the day-to-day operations and coordinates the contracts and deals with the customers and the 60 associates and franchisees that we have on board.
mhm,
We've just recruited a social media trainee social media manager to manage that side of things. And we've also, I think it was back in May, recruited a business development lead as well to kind of be on the phones and building partnerships with care
yeah,
organisations and telling them what we do, and obviously trying to get um, those partnerships on board with care organisations and sell what we do effectively. Um, and we've, like I say, last couple of years we've got 2 franchisees on board, so we're working hard with them to try and help them to be successful and help them push forward with their businesses in their own entities. I've
brilliant.
literally just come off a meeting with another Yorkshire business person, Richard Fisher at Lime Licensing. He's our franchise consultant and we're working with him to try and increase that set of 2 franchisees to possibly 40, 50 across the country.
Yeah,
That's the aim, longer term of the next 5 to 10 years. So that's what we're working
fantastic.
on.
Sounds
And
like,
also just building the core business as well.
yeah,
Alongside Care Improvement Associates, I'm also one of the founders of Be Outstanding Care Quality Software, which we use as part of our consultancy process with
mhm,
the care organisations to help them aim for outstanding care quality. So the single assessment framework has just come out from the regulator, which basically changes the way that they carry out their inspection and their evidence and their assessment of care providers to see whether they are compliant, but also to see if they're aiming for outstanding care. So the Be Outstanding software helps them to do that and helps them to evidence exactly what their care quality levels are like. So it just makes life a lot simpler and easier and saves them a lot of headaches, basically, which is something we all need.
brilliant. So is it you that's driving all of this in terms of this entrepreneurial, I suppose, flair that you're showing to grow the business?
I think I'd probably say I'm one of the key drivers in the entrepreneurial side, but it's absolutely and utterly not possible to kind of implement that without people who are really good at the operational side and who are really talented at actually making things happen. Because it's okay having all the ideas and saying, I think this will work, and
Yeah,
having kind of ideas that may or may not become successful. But if you don't have those key team members to support that and believe in what you're doing, then it's kind of useless, isn't it? So
sure.
yeah, on both sides, on the Be Outstanding side, we have Claire Artley, who's our Chief Operating Officer, and we have a great CTO and a great software architect who kind of make those dreams become reality
Yeah,
with the team. And then again, on the Care Improvement Associate side, we have Rachel and Glenys and Gracie and our associates and franchisees who
yeah,
are operational every day making these things happen. So yeah, I guess I'm the ideas person and the entrepreneurial person.
yeah,
I wrote a book a few years ago, I think it's 3 years ago, called The Adventures of a Care Entrepreneur,
yeah,
which was kind of the startup story, if you like, the first
yeah.
5 years. And I'm intending on doing a second book in that series to kind of, again,
Well,
explain the realities of what happens after the startup phase when it's all very exciting in the first 5 years. It's all like you're going to conquer the world
yeah.
and then and in some ways you feel like I say, you feel like you have conquered quite a few things, and you
You've
said,
overcome a lot of
yeah,
obstacles on the way
yeah,
to get to
yeah,
where you have today. So
yeah,
hats off to
yeah.
you for doing that. So what? Sorry, go on. What you going to say?
I was just going to say you do change over the years and yourself as well,
Yeah,
and you're you know, the realities of business are very different, I think, to when you first start up.
mhm,
And it doesn't mean you leave those dreams behind, but I think you've got to try and really take control of your business and push forwards in the right direction without just having the dreams. You know, you've got to actually make them a
sure.
reality, like I said. And it's
Yeah,
having the right people, like I said, behind you,
fantastic. So
with you.
over the last 7 years, then, what's the biggest lesson that you could share from that experience that you've got?
There's just so many. I
Okay,
literally learn a
one or two that
lesson.
spring to mind.
I learn a lesson every day, I think,
Yeah.
literally. I think the most important thing is to make sure that you've got your figures right, making sure that you've got your commercial side of things right, your accountancy side right. And I talk about this in the Adventures of a Care Entrepreneur. Is about I'm not a figures or numbers person. I'm not an accountant. We use another Yorkshire business, Asquith's Accountancy in Scarborough, and they're brilliant. They've been really supportive, really good. And having those key people who are kind of, even if you have to contract it out to an accountant, you haven't got an internal accountant, you
Yeah.
still need to feel part of your team. You still need to trust them and make sure they are kind of part of that team, even if they're external.
Mhm.
So that would be the key thing from the very beginning, to make sure you've got the right software in place, like QuickBooks or Sage or whatever you're going to use. Zero, there's quite a few now. Making sure you kind of keep on top of that side of things is really important. Sounds
Sure.
boring, but it's true.
Got to be done. Got to be done. Yeah.
So that would be my first massive piece of advice. And second one would be, if you can, and I know it's not always possible, try not to kind of take out any kind of business loans. If you can get investment into the business in other ways, it means you're not going to be borrowing money that you have to pay back.
Mhm.
I think it's really positive to kind of try and build an organic business and invest back into your own business from the profits rather than borrowing. Yeah. Sometimes it's essential to borrow. You have to borrow to grow your business, and that's great. But try and limit that as much as you possibly can, and grow organically as much as you can.
Some great lessons shared there. Thank you. So what inspires you to do what you do, Samuel? I mean, you talked about your early career and pathway into setting up the businesses. So yeah, what is it that drives you to do what you do? Has that changed over the years as well?
I think the fact that every one of our 60 associates or franchisees that go out into the care settings not only just support the managers and the directors to kind of have a better business, but they also help them to have a better quality of care for the people that they're supporting has to be the key driver for me, because you feel like you are actually making a huge difference to people's lives, often people who might be quite vulnerable, obviously, where other people might be supporting them to make decisions in their lives and supporting them to live their lives and try and get the best out of their lives every day. I think that's an amazing thing that both our organisations support care providers to do that. So yeah, really happy about that. Yeah, it's good stuff.
Excellent. So if there's one piece of advice, just as we kind of finish off, that someone starting out in business, maybe reflective of what you've shared on the lessons, but yeah, if someone came up to you and said, I'm thinking of starting a business, what piece of advice can you offer me? What would that be?
You've got to really be passionate about the subject area that you're setting up the business in, or the business area, the arena that you're setting the business up in. So like myself, I was really passionate about the care sector and improving people's lives. So it kind of made sense for me to be doing this business. It wouldn't make sense for someone else to be doing that if they had no interest in it whatsoever, and they were only kind of thinking about, oh yeah, I can charge X amount of £1,000 per year or whatever it might be. If you go for the kind of money, it's not going to be a success because people can tell that you're not passionate about the actual subject. So whatever your passion is in life, set up a business in that area, because that passion will just shine through and people will want to buy into you as a person and not just your business. So that would be my main piece of advice.
Great. It's definitely got to carry you forward through the tough times as well, that passion. If you're
yeah, it definitely helps. If you love what you're doing, it definitely helps. It doesn't feel so much as a chore getting up every day, let's say, and drawing back those curtains and just stepping outside and getting into the world. So I think, like I say, everybody has challenges, but business is about up and down. It's not always going to be one end of the spectrum or the other. There's going to be everything in between. And I think it's just embracing that reality, really, and just kind of accepting that and kind of going with the roller coaster to a degree, but getting the right team behind you as well, whether it's someone like yourself, business coaches, the right staff team, the right head office team, accountancy team, whatever it is, whoever you're going to choose to work with, they've got to share that same vision with you and want to kind of be your A team, really.
Great stuff. Great advice. So lastly, any latest news around what you're up to, or even if it's a case of sharing your websites or social media channels, feel free.
Yep, so you can find us on LinkedIn, just search for Care Improvement Associates. Our website is www.theciagroup.co.uk or b-outstanding.co.uk if you want to look at the software that we provide. And yeah, just come and check us out. Give us a follow on LinkedIn or any of the social media channels. And yeah, we're out there at the minute supporting all care providers across the country to implement the new regulatory framework. It's basically our mission at the minute, which is a huge challenge for the care providers and for us, but we are definitely getting there. We had 171 people attend our live webinar on Friday about that very subject. So yeah, definitely getting the message out there.
Making inroads into it. Awesome. Well, I wish you all the best for the future of the business and that succeeding in that growth plan and getting those franchises out there. So yeah, all the best with it, Samuel. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Mike. Much appreciated. Take care.